Hey everybody, it's Jamie. I wanted to take 5, maybe 10 minutes to do a quick mid-month budget check-in to just show you where we are at with our budget and how we kind of assess our budget throughout the month, because some months we do really great and we stay under budget or right on budget. Other months, like, things come up, like we've had some friends in town this month and our community budget is skyrocketed through the roof. And so I want to show you how we deal with those changes, we make adjustments throughout, and how we have kind of a secret weapon when it comes to when we might go over budget to help us cover those costs so that we aren't losing money or having to really sacrifice a ton out of other categories. So here we go, mid-month budget check-in. Hope you can learn something out of this, and I'd love to hear any questions you have about how we do our own budgeting or questions that you have about your budgeting, and maybe we can share some tips and tricks. So here we go. I'm going to switch screens and modes so that we can look at our actual budget. All right, here we go. All right, so here is our actual budget sitting right here. And this is a wide open view of our budget. So I'm not like, there's no like man behind the curtain or anything. This is our actual numbers of our budget, where our income and expenses. And so I'm just gonna run down, when I do a monthly budget check-in, run down our budget categories to see how we're doing. We are a little over halfway through the month. And so we should be at about the halfway or a little over halfway point in pretty much all of our budget categories that are flexible. Most of our bills have been paid at this point, and we'll see that. I love to just scan through our budget when I'm updating it, just to see, make sure I'm getting all of our bills paid on time, to see if there's any kind of like questionable categories that like we're going way over and our spending is out of control, that we need to rein that back in. Or if there's places like tonight, we actually did like a family fun date where me and my wife and my daughter went out and ate dinner, and we went and got ice cream at Dairy Queen, and it was just a really fun like family date night. So we did that because I noticed that we had extra money in that budget, and we're getting close to the end of the month. So here we go. So we haven't paid our mortgage yet. We paid all of these bills here, and so we're good there. And so one of the first things that I see is our home supplies. So $60 a month is our budget, but we're at 105 with a week or so left, a week and a half. And I love to leave notes in my budget so that I know what that is. Why am I $45 over? Because apparently we ran out of all of our hand soap and dish soap and laundry detergent and all those things all in the same month, and you gotta have those things. And so we also had some Ace hardware tools. We had to buy sunscreen for the summer, and so this category went over budget, and it looks like we've gone over a budget a couple of times this year. And so that might be a budget category that we might have to reassess to see, is that a good fit? Is that a good number? Do we have to increase that budget and maybe decrease someplace else? All right. Another one I like to assess here. So here's some more flexible ones. Groceries. 241. Our grocery budget for our family is $350 a month. So we've got about $109 left, and that needs to get us through about a week and a half. And so that budget's for about $75 a week. We'll be pretty close. That'll be pretty much right on the money, I'm hoping. And I've actually got a secret here. This is our category called rollover, not a category, but just another tab in our budget that I'll talk about at the end of this video that helps when we are going to be closely going over in certain budget categories, or if we get to the end of the month and we haven't used all of the budget category. Our rollover is really big and important for us in that. All right, so a couple notes here. We did some baking. I bought all the coconut extract at the grocery store because it was super on sale, and we make homemade like banana ice cream smoothies with coconut extract, and it's delightful. All right, so we had some family fun. We did some gas station treats in Qdoba. All right, so that's in there. Okay, so all these look pretty darn good, actually. Right on the money with a lot of these. Oh, the worst mac and cheese ever. We're out and about, and our daughter was having a meltdown because she was hungry, and so we got her mac and cheese from a restaurant, and it was absolutely terrible. So will not recommend that. All right, so here we go. Just again, checking in. Daycare, we're right on the money. We'll have the daycare check due. Oh, we got an aquarium pass. One of the best things for our toddler. She gets to run around, look at all kinds of fish, and she got money from her grandma for her birthday to help fund that. So we only had to put $30 in. That's amazing. Had to get an oil change. Not something that happens every month. And so our budget just kind of has a little bit of extra flexible money in it. If you can see like our normal budget, we have net income about close to $250. So of that extra $250, $63 of that will be for our oil change. All right. All of our insurance looks like it is getting paid, which is great. Those are all automatic withdrawals. All right, so my wife is doing a summer book club with one of our favorite human beings on the internet. Sharon says so. She's like America's government teacher, an expert in American government and politics, and answers people's questions with fact-based, unbiased stuff. It's great. And she's doing a summer book club, so we want to invest in that. Our giving section, our daycare does a water drive every year, so they just collect money in water and donate that to a local nonprofit, which is amazing. Our savings, these are all automatically transferred, so I don't really have to do anything here. If you don't have automatic transfer set up for your savings account, it's an amazing way to make sure that you are actually contributing to savings every month. Just set up those automatic transfers and the money will just jump into where it needs to be. We've got our investments for us and Addie. All right, this is kind of a flexible area too, and this is where I can see we are way over budget, and I already knew this was happening. So our community fund is $50 a month. You can see that we are at $177. That is way over budget. This is happening for two reasons. Number one, we've got some friends there, like our best local friends, and our daughter's best friends with their kid, and they go to the same daycare, and it's just wonderful. Well, they're moving. So we've been trying to cram in as much extra time with them as we can, and we know that that sometimes involves buying food or eating out. And so we picked up pizza one time with them and just spent a couple extra grocery store things. And we had some friends unexpectedly come into town, and they called us up and said, hey, can we go out to lunch with you guys? And so that was something we wanted to say yes to because we don't see those friends often. Hi, Jackie and Tyler, if you're watching this. And so we knew that this was going to be over. And that's going to bring us here in one moment to, here sports rep fees. We're in a volleyball league, which is super fun. We spent no money on our pets this month, which is amazing. So that might all get added to rollover. And that brings us into that right now. Or we can just pocket that money. All right, so that brings us into rollover. So this is something that I highly recommend you doing, especially if you are constantly feeling a little nervous and stressed about going over budget or, really going over budget. So this is our rollover tab. So in a lot of our flexible categories, like baking, dogs, date, fun, community, household, all these different things are flexible. And community fund, like I said, we knew that we went way over in community fund, but one of the reasons we were okay doing that is at the end of a month, if we haven't reached our budget in that category. So for our community budget, which is $50, let's say that we didn't use all of that. Oh, actually, this is a great example here. In March, we did not use our $100 for our dogs. Like, they didn't need food, they didn't need anything that month, and so we didn't use any of that. We took $50 of that, marked in our budget, and then for March, marked that, where's our dogs? 50 into here. So we had $50 that was just kind of there if we needed to, if we go over budget. And in May, from our tax return, we took $293 and put it in our community fund because we love spending time with friends, and sometimes again that involves spending money, and we wanted to make sure we could just say yes to cool and fun opportunities that came up, like spending time with our friends that are moving or spending time with our friends that just popped into town. And so yes, we went $127 over budget so far for June, but we have $293 just hanging out in this rollover. And so this is something that I highly recommend you doing if you're feeling stressed about money in general and going over budget. Is if you get a month where you don't use all of your budget in a certain category, like my wife and I, we do this for date. We went out for sandwiches and got some ice cream, and we haven't used all of our date fund. You can see our fund is $75. If we don't use all of that, that extra $40 is going to go right into rollover, and it's going to kind of keep building up a nice total here for us. So if we want to do something and splurge on something like a night out of town, or stay in a hotel for a weekend, we've just got money set aside to do that, which is really nice and really reduces a lot of stress for us. So rollover, highly recommended. I would love any and all questions you've got about those. Throw them in the comments, and I love to respond to those. And I love your questions about budgeting. You can ask me questions about our process and why we do the things the way we do. We've been doing this since 2014, so about 7 years of constantly adjusting and changing our budget, and knowing that we've got that rollover is super helpful, but also knowing that we are getting close in our grocery fund here. means that, hey, we got to be really intentional about what we buy in this next week and a half so we can stay on budget and make sure that we're not like losing money on the month, and we can contribute money to some of our sinking funds here. That's it. That's our mid-month budget update. I hope this is helpful just to see somebody else's process in this. Again, any questions you have, I would love to see them in the comments. Please ask me, reach out to me on social media or anything like that as well. But thanks for watching, and yeah, be ready for more videos.